outside of Denver, it just feels like everybody else is pretty young, athletic, bigger, stronger. And
I mean, when you look at OKC,
I know.
they're babies compared to our team.
I know. I think their whole roster is 19 years old.
All right, so about those draft picks I told you, you could, well, actually your friends, when they try and tell you the Suns don't own draft picks, 2 of them could be up for grabs here in just about a month and a half. First, we'll hear from Shams as far as shopping said draft picks.
Just to clear things up, they have 2 first-round picks that they can trade on draft night. That's nothing. Obviously, that's nothing to sneeze at. So I think there is this perception out there that they don't have assets, that they can't make moves right now. But they do have some salaries that are easily tradable. They have a guy like Nasir Little who you can throw in a deal, and they have 2 first-round draft picks on draft night. So I think they will be very, very aggressive between now and draft night.
So if you didn't believe us, which you should have, you could believe Shams too. We do have draft picks. Okay, we've got the 22nd pick in this year's draft. And then like Shams said, on draft night, the 2031 pick becomes available to be moved as well. So in theory, the Suns could trade 1 draft pick, they could trade 2 of them, or they could do some package of draft picks and a player to make a move on draft night.
They could. What I would like to see, though, is instead of them making a trade before their pick comes up, I would like for them to sit there and wait until 22 comes around and you see who's available first before you make the trade. Because I guess I draft younger players, more athletic players at this point more than James Jones does, because I'm looking at the rest of the league and I do not like what I see. Outside of Denver, it just feels like everybody else is pretty young, athletic, bigger, stronger. And
I mean, when you look at OKC,
I know.
they're babies compared to our team.
I know. I think their whole roster is 19 years old. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
None of them can even legally drink.
I mean, do you trust the guys, I guess, sitting in the seat to make a quality draft pick? I think you got to weigh that too, right?
No, I don't think he can, because he's proven that he doesn't value it enough to really pay attention.
Yeah,
I mean, straight up, like, you got Cam Johnson right. Cool. After that,
I mean, that's the problem. They got Tumani right. They just had to trade him.
Do we really know, though? Because he played in Portland. Like, if he's
going to be
he was good.
He'll be a good player.
But my point being, if he was here, he wouldn't have gotten massive minutes like that in all likelihood. So he wouldn't maybe have been that same guy, at least in year 1 here.
I think it depends on what you are, as a front office, down prioritizing, because I do think there's something to be said for a lot of the teams that are currently contenders. It's not just like an OKC that's like everybody's super young. It's other teams too that have a mix of established talent and young guys that they're able to get their feet wet a little bit, give them some playoff experience. Like, I think there were definitely times this season when there was too much of a burden placed on Kevin Durant to be our wing stopper. And that's where Tumani could have gotten some minutes off the bench, could have closed some games. Hell, going into the season, we were talking about him logging some small ball 5 minutes too. Like, that would have given us an alternative in some of those instances where it was like, well, here you go, KD, guard Domantas Sabonis for this entire fourth quarter. So I do think, and that's the thing with this team and this number 22 pick is, like, you look at the point guard spot, obviously a lot of people want them to draft a point guard that can be groomed for, like, the future, the long haul. You look at the wing, they definitely need some wing stoppers. They need wing depth. And you look at the center spot, they need somebody that can give us an alternative to what we have now in the center spot. Like, you have needs at all 3 positions and you have a pick near the top 20. It'd be tough to turn that down. It depends on what you trade it for, but, like, you've got to nail the trade if you are trading that 22 pick.
Well, Sham said Nasir Little, right? And I'm looking at every guy that makes right around or below or significantly below what Nasir Little makes. You really want to trade Nasir in a first-round pick for Javon Carter? Do you really want to trade him for our favorite Jalen Smith? Like, I'm looking at guys that are realistic.
What about a Torrey Craig?
I mean, my God.
You know, like, you look at it and, okay, maybe a Nick.
I don't like you right
now.
Big smile on her face.
Richard from Charlotte, you know, like, maybe. But you're not talking about talent that feels like you should give up a first-round pick for. Now, you know, if we get into the Nurk range, maybe there is, one or two guys that pique your interest. But like, if we're talking us here, I'd rather just keep the pick and try to find talent.